Severe thunderstorms on the move across the Bluegrass State. We're tracking the latest on a new hour-by-hour forecast just ahead.
Breaking news this afternoon, a jury finds a man guilty of a Lexington murder. We're live with reaction.
And more shocking headlines out of Orlando today after a gator snatches a child at Disney World Resort.
WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
We have rounds of showers and storms moving across the state, and some of those storms will be strong and even severe.
Let's go straight to Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. He's tracking the situation on this WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day.
Yeah, guys, many of the storms so far, at least the worst of the weather, has been targeting parts of the Interstate 65 area. Severe thunderstorm watch out for all the counties in yellow. That'll go until 10 this evening. That is just to the west of downtown Lexington. Severe thunderstorm watch has been added for northern Kentucky. That will go 1 hour later until 11 o'clock. Defender Radar Network. Some pop-up stuff into parts of central and eastern Kentucky. Nothing really to talk about across the Lexington metro over the past couple of hours, though. Last scan or two, a little shower going up into parts of Harrison County and one on the northeastern tip here of Fayette County, right on the Bourbon County line. We've had severe thunderstorm warnings out for this particular cell that is cruising to the southeast. Really not going to impact central Kentucky. It's squeezed between Bardstown and E-Town now. 3D Defender showing just how tall that storm is. What I'm more concerned about, the storms that are going up here across the Indiana area. From Bloomington to Indianapolis, severe thunderstorm warnings are out for those cells that will drop on in from northwest to southeast as the evening wears on. Big thunderstorm cluster to our southwest, not worried about that. Watch the northwestern sky for those storms into Indiana to make a beeline toward the Bluegrass region. Middle part of the evening, as this hour-by-hour future radar suggests, it would be between 6 and 8 o'clock for the Lexington Metro to get at least that line of thunderstorms, not including anything that pops up out ahead of that. And then, as you can see into the wee hours of the morning, that line of thunderstorms exits southeastern Kentucky. So again, best chance for some strong or severe thunderstorms this evening into parts of central Kentucky as we go from 6 to roughly 8, 9 o'clock or so. Guys, we'll break down the individual threats we're facing when I come back in a little over 10 minutes.
Chris, thank you. We continue to track breaking news out of Lexington. Late this afternoon, a jury found a man guilty in a Lexington murder case.
Mark Taylor was on trial for killing Alex Johnson in December of 2013. The verdict came back just about an hour ago. WKYT's Victor Puente is live outside the Fayette County Courthouse with more. Victor?
Mark Taylor's defense team tried to convince a jury that he was only present when Alex Johnson was killed. But less than an hour ago, that jury agreed with prosecutors and decided he was the killer. Now, Taylor's attorneys said the other person charged in this case, Timothy Ballard, was the man who actually killed Alex Johnson. But jurors found Taylor guilty of murder, kidnapping, and tampering with physical evidence. Timothy Ballard had testified last week that he helped Taylor put Johnson's body in a barrel and then dumped that barrel in the Kentucky River. Taylor said Johnson was his close friend and he tried to stop Ballard from killing him. His defense team had told the jurors over and over again that if they didn't believe Timothy Ballard, that Mark Taylor was not guilty.
We know that out of his own mouth, on the witness stand, he said, "I lie." Out of his own mouth.
With evidence that he concealed and removed blood, that he jumped a car, that he made statements to others, you don't want to know what happened. It wasn't supposed to go down that way.
Opening statements have begun in the sentencing phase. We know the death penalty isn't an option, but Taylor does face 20 years to life in prison for this conviction. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. Timothy Ballard has not been sentenced yet for his guilty plea to kidnapping and tampering with evidence.
We continue to track another breaking story, this one out of Orlando, Florida. The search for a 2-year-old snatched by an alligator has come to a heartbreaking end. About 30 minutes ago, authorities confirmed that they have found the young boy's body.
Don Champion is tracking the situation right now.
After mounting a massive search by air and along the shore, authorities say the body of a toddler snatched by an alligator at a Disney resort has been found.
At about 1:45 today, members of the Orange County Sheriff's Office dive team located what is believed to be the remains of the deceased, a 2-year-old.
Investigators say the child, Lane Graves of Elkhorn, Nebraska, was with his parents and sibling playing in shallow lake water at the Grand Floridian last night when the alligator attacked. The boy's father tried desperately to fight off the gator, but could not save him. Disney has temporarily closed its resort beaches. No swimming signs were posted in the area of the attack, but some are questioning if more precautions, including underwater fencing, should be taken.
If alligators can move across the land and under the water, so fencing is just not a feasible option.
Authorities are trying to reassure guests that attacks like this are very rare.
Disney has operated here now for 45 years, and they've never had this type of thing happen before.
Disney says the attack is devastating and that it's doing everything it can for the family. Don Champion, CBS News, Lake Buena Vista, Florida.
5 alligators were taken in the search. Disney World is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the country, especially this time of year. We caught up with a family from Somerset visiting Disney for the first time with their 7-year-old. Terry Shelton says everything that's happened over the last week, he isn't taking any chances.
Yeah, I'm just keeping him right here by my side everywhere we go. I don't want to take my eyes off of him for a second. All the violence that's been going on here lately, and then the alligator last night, it's just not worth taking a chance on.
Terry says the shuttle service at the park changed course so no one passed the Grand Floridian Hotel.
Investigators looking into the deadly nightclub massacre in Orlando have turned their focus on the gunman's wife. CBS News has learned that Noor Salman went with her husband Omar Mateen to buy ammunition ahead of the shooting. Investigators say she also told them she previously went to the Pulse nightclub with her husband and tried to convince him not to go through with an attack. Mateen's father defended his daughter-in-law today.
My daughter-in-law is the most sincere and the most wonderful lady that I ever known.
The city of Orlando opened a family assistance center today to help victims' families with grief counseling, legal information, and funeral arrangements. Back here in Kentucky, people continue to pay tribute to the victims of Sunday's shootings.
UK hosted a remembrance on campus this afternoon. WKYT's Sean Moody shows us how people honored those who lost their lives.
A counselor with the campus LGBTQ outreach office said students often have a lot of anxiety and concerns that's only amplified after something like Sunday. They said it's important to see things like this happening here today.
Organizers weren't sure just how big a crowd they'd get. They moved into a larger room just in case a lot of people came. It was a good thing they did.
I was in tears walking in the door because when I walked up and people were out in the hall and obviously couldn't get into the room, because I thought this room might be fairly full. I had no idea we would be double capacity.
I honestly didn't think that was going to be kind of this crowded, but it's nothing bad at all. It's always a great thing to see this type of support.
People spilled out onto the balcony to be a part of the service. Speakers talked about the importance of embracing people of different backgrounds.
I want to make sure that I'm advocating for them, and also that since I'm not a part of those organizations or that community, that I know what they're going through and that I can be there for them and be empathetic for things that they're going through.
That's something they said they're really going to focus on.
I think sometimes people that are in our minority weren't in our classrooms or walking their community. They kind of feel they're not wanted. So just open up your arms and just giving them a few words to make sure that they're unwanted. I think for one thing for me, it's going to be a great step going forward.
Now, there were a lot of counselors in that room today. They said they'd be available to anyone here on campus who needs them. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
The university has also lit up Memorial Hall in rainbow colors to show solidarity with the LGBTQ community.
A fight ends with one man dead and another in jail. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Greene County. State police say that Willard Calhoun stabbed Gerald Scott to death during the fight at Calhoun's home in Summersville. Calhoun is charged with murder. The trial for a man charged in a Montgomery County woman's murder has been postponed. Lonnie Martin is accused of killing Kyla Klein 3 years ago. The trial was delayed due to the resignation of an assistant Commonwealth's attorney. The Winchester Sun reports a new trial date will be set at a hearing on June 24th. Martin is awaiting a separate murder trial in Clark County for the death of his cousin back in 1995. And in Franklin County, a woman took a plunge to try and escape police. Frankfort police say that Crystal Markland jumped into the Kentucky River during an arrest near the Clinton Street Bridge. Police say the officer jumped in too because Markland was under the influence and he was worried she might not be able to swim. The State Journal reports she was taken to the hospital to be checked out before going to jail.
Still to come, the Lexington Police Department wants more women to join the force. What they're doing to bring in new recruits ahead. And if you want to avoid chronic health problems and live longer, there's an important food you need to add to your diet. We'll tell you about it in Better Living.
And straight ahead, I'll show you why I'm focusing on the Hoosier State for the possibility of severe weather here in the Bluegrass State. Hour by hour forecast is up next.
Kentucky Lottery jackpot sequence has been initiated. Prepare for current jackpot amount.
Wednesday's Powerball jackpot is $153 million.
Crispy, crunchy, cheesy. Papa John's new pan pizza, loaded with cheese that bakes into a delicious crust. Get our new pan pizza with up to 3 toppings for just $10 at papajohns.com.
This is the Mom Biz, and ladies, it's showtime. You've got soccer practice, swim meets, drum lessons, play dates, and all the other stuff that keeps your family humming. But you know what matters? The healthy stuff, full tummies. That's why you've got Lando Frost Premium Lunch Meat, a simple, protein-packed, good-for-'em lunch. And that's how you get a mom groove. Groove with me now. Hey, Lando Frost, they're a family brand. You're a family. See what I'm getting at?
You know that old saying, there's 1,000 ways to slice a grape? Well, tell Arby's about the other 999, because we're still stuck doing it this way. Every morning, hand slicing grapes just for one seasonal sandwich. If Arby's does all this work for just one sandwich ingredient, imagine what kind of effort we put into the rest of them. I mean, is somebody back there cracking pecans? Arby's, we have the meat.
I'm a Toyota truck. I like to get dirty. I'm made in America. I can tow over 10,000 pounds. I'm indestructible. I keep my family safe. I work hard. I play hard. I am a Toyota truck. Right now, get a new 2016 Tundra with 1.9% financing for 60 months. Toyota, let's go places.
Getting more for your money is simpler than you might think. When you shop at Kroger, you get low prices throughout the store, weekly specials, great value from our quality brands, digital coupons, and even fuel points to help you save at the pump. No spin, just savings.
With low prices and weekly deals, saving is so easy at Kroger. Come in and cross more off your list for less. Just look for the tags and save. Great food, low prices at Kroger.
Crispy, crunchy, cheesy. Papa John's new pan pizza, loaded with cheese that bakes into a delicious crust. Get our new pan pizza with up to 3 toppings for just $10 at papajohns.com.
WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day as we track the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms. Look at our sky right now in Lexington. It has that tropical look, and it's the feeling that at any point sky's just going to open up on us. Well, it's going to wait a little while before it does that, but I do expect as the evening wears on for at least some strong thunderstorms to rumble through the area. 88 right now, feels like it is 95 degrees. Severe thunderstorm watch for the counties in the yellow. That is from Lincoln County, Boyle County, through Mercer, Woodford counties, Franklin County, and points to the west. Then you get a new severe thunderstorm watch for northern Kentucky until 11 o'clock. I think we'll get some more counties added to that as the evening wears on. Defender Radar Network busy this morning with some showers and thunderstorms targeting parts of northern and eastern Kentucky right now. Spotty stuff that is beginning to go up across Bourbon County into sections of Nicholas County and east of Cynthiana now. We've had this is a very slow-moving thunderstorm coming out of Bullitt County into parts of Hardin County and Nelson County. It's right on top of the Bluegrass Parkway. Folks here into Lawrenceburg, look to your southwest. You're probably hearing some distant rumbles of thunder. That is putting down some very heavy rains. It is no longer considered to be severe, and if you were with us 30 minutes ago when we were looking at this storm on your 3D Defender, it was way, way up there. Now it's kind of a little lower in the atmosphere, so it doesn't have the energy that it had earlier. Now we're watching additional thunderstorms going up here into parts of Indiana. And look at how much this has intensified over the past half hour. If you've been watching us for the past half hour or an hour, you've noticed we've been focusing on this, and every time we look at Defender here, we get more thunderstorms to go up there. And those storms are going to work their way from northwest to southeast. So that is our severe weather threat as the evening goes on. Big complex of thunderstorms, heavy, heavy rains, couple or 3 inches maybe in a few spots here into western Kentucky. That is heading toward Tennessee. This stuff in Indiana is heading toward the bluegrass state. So what is it going to be packing when it rolls on into town? Well, the best threat would be, in terms of severe weather, would be from some high winds, maybe some small hail. Also, with so much moisture in the air, it will not take very much at all for these storms to put down a quick inch or two of rain. So a little minor stream or street flooding is a possibility at some point this evening. Can we get some better stuff in here? Yep, after tomorrow. Storm or two around, low 90s on Thursday, Friday into Saturday, much, much better as drier air works on in. That hour-by-hour forecast this evening with those thunderstorms racing from northwest to southeast. 60s in the morning. Most areas should hit the low 90s coming up tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to be a very steamy day here across central and eastern Kentucky. And once we get through that, Friday, a very small chance for a shower right now. I think most of the day and most of the area is dry with low 80s, comfortable air for the weekend. Then we steam it up into the first part of next week. So guys, we're just kind of in a wait and see mode, waiting those thunderstorms out that are into parts of Indiana.
And waiting for the weekend, it looks like.
We're always waiting for the weekend.
That's true.
Right?
She's been waiting for days.
Me?
We must be really pleasant to work with.
I'm sure she's ready to get to Saturday.
True.
Get me out of here.
Not true.
All right, thanks. Lexington police want to find more women to join the force, how they're reaching out to them and recruiting them ahead.
And law enforcement goes door to door looking for dozens of wanted people. The crime they're accused of on WKYT News at 5:30.
The fight against drugs takes us somewhere unexpected.
People who want things will find ways to get things, and especially drug addicts.
WKYT is there as officers search for drugs in jails. Thursday at 6 on WKYT.
Attention residents of Lexington. Due to the recent torrential hailstorm, many vehicles have been damaged, and we are forced to deeply discount them at the Glenn dealerships of Nicholasville. Glenn Ford, Glenn Mitsubishi, and Glenn Hyundai of Nicholasville. Small scratches, dings, and dents have forced us to sell these vehicles below market value. You will save thousands, and these small cosmetic defects can be easily repaired. These vehicles are limited and are first come, first served. Get to any of the Glenn dealerships in Nicholasville, Ford, Mitsubishi, or Hyundai today for this rare event.
Looking for the best boat your money can buy? Check out Tracker, Nitro, Sun Tracker, and Tahoe boats. Backed by the best factory warranties in the business. And Tracker is holding the line on pricing. Most 2016 boats are at or below last year's prices. Like the 2016 Tracker Pro Team 190TX for $1,100 below the 2014 price. 2016 boats at 2015 prices. At the Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boating Center in Corbin.
Guys, our number's way! Yeah, wait. We can finally stop playing these wedding gigs and start rocking out! Hey, guys! What's going on? Lenny, I hope you got that ticket in the same place, bro! Yeah. Ticket?
The only way you can win Kentucky's Powerball or Mega Millions jackpot is if you actually buy your ticket.
All right, let's get Tim and Don on the dance floor. Whatever. Go.
Ready for summertime thrills? Kentucky Kingdom, the Thrill Park, Hurricane Bay, the Water Park. 2 great parks at one low price. Save $10 at your local Kroger. Day tickets only $39.95.
Pick up boneless pork chops for $2.99 a pound. And blueberries, raspberries, or blackberries are 3 for $5. Fresh food, low prices at Kroger.
Start planning your Dollywood vacation today. Enjoy exclusive guest privileges with your resort stay.
Dollywood. Love every moment.
Kentucky mornings start here. Breaking and overnight news, weather to plan your day, plus traffic you can take with you. Make WKYT This Morning part of your Kentucky morning. Weekdays from 4:30 to 7 on WKYT. Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
We continue to track a developing international story this afternoon. Officials in Egypt say the wreckage of an Egypt Air plane has been spotted in the Mediterranean. The plane crashed last month while en route from Cairo to Paris, killing all 66 people on board. A search team and investigators will now draw a map to go and recover the wreckage. Sunday's shooting in Orlando, Florida has been a major topic on the campaign trail. In a potential split from his party, presumptive GOP nominee Donald Trump tweeted plans to talk to the NRA about a bill to ban individuals on the terror watch list from buying guns. Presumptive Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton wants to go a step further and reinstate a ban on assault weapons. Both candidates have also sparred over the terminology used to describe terrorists.
He has been fixated on the phrase, and I quote, radical Islam, as if those are magic words that once uttered will stop terrorists from coming after us.
Unless you're willing to discuss and talk about the real nature of the problem and the name of the problem, radical Islamic terrorism, you're never going to solve the problem.
The latest Bloomberg Politics poll shows Clinton with a 12-point lead over Trump. The Lexington Police Department is looking for a few good women.
This weekend, women have a chance to learn more about police work and being part of that department. WKYT's Sabira Rayford has more on the recruiting push in a story that's new at 5.
Behind me, Lexington Police Department recruits are training to become officers. But this weekend, recruiting officers are working to get more women on the roster. For the third year, the Lexington Police Department is holding the Women's Law Enforcement Symposium. The goal of the event is to show women the opportunities and benefits of becoming a police officer. Event organizers say there will be a women's panel where recruits will be able to ask questions and learn more about the process. A light buffet breakfast will also be provided to participants. Organizers say the goal is to not only show women that they can work in law enforcement, but to show them they can be leaders as well.
So I want to see more women on the police force so we can reflect Fayette County. Fayette County has a large population of women, and I would like to see more women in the ranks and more women out that the public can interact with.
The symposium will take place this Saturday here at the Lexington Police Academy Training Center. In Lexington, Sabir Rayford, WKYT.
The event is free and registration begins at 9 a.m. A teenager badly injured in a car crash meets the governor. We'll show you how the get-together happened on WKYT News at 5:30.
The difference whole grains can make for your health and why you might want to reevaluate the way you fight with your spouse. Those stories next in Better Living.
Rock bottom prices, and we'll double your complimentary maintenance to 4 years or 50,000 miles at Frankfort Toyota. Brand new 2016 Toyota Camrys, up to $4,000 off MSRP. 0% financing for 72 months on 2016 Camrys and Corollas.
Plus huge discounts on remaining new and used hail sale vehicles.
Frankfort Toyota, Google rated 4.9 out of 5 stars. Frankfort Toyota, and online at frankforttoyota.com.
Before contemplating the many choices on Steak and Shake's $4 menu, one must calm the mind in our Zen garden. Focus. The garlic double steak burger meal. Reflect. The taco salad meal. Zen. The original double and cheese steak burger meal. Oh!
Download the new Steak and Shake Rewards app. Earn rewards every time you use it from Steak and Shake.
Clients come into the office. The government has said, no, I don't believe you. You're not disabled.
The major problem with Social Security disability is that most people who sign up are denied at the initial level. If your claim's denied, don't give up. Call us immediately. We'll appeal your case.
We can do an effective job of representing you that will get you the benefits that you deserve.
Call Morgan, Collins, and Yeast, 1-800-55-WILDCAT.
I had just gotten out of high school. My father had passed away, and I kind of decided then that I wanted to be in the medical field. And one of my friends attended Spencerian that I worked with. I was working 2 jobs at the time. I work with 7 other people in a laboratory that have actually graduated from Spencerian. I think it all comes back to the fact that all the instructors here have that experience and they prepare us so well. Things can change for the better, and Spencerian College will help that change.
Want to drive the #1 selling SUV? Honda's got it with a 2016 CR-V. CR-Vs are KBB's best buy of the year, and they're all fully loaded for $219 a month. Looking for hot technology? Honda's got it with available Honda Lane Watch, forward collision warning, power tailgate, and more. Want CR-Vs for just $219 a month or drive with 0 down payment? Honda's got it this week at your Central Kentucky Honda dealers.
What's it worth to be there for birthdays? What's it worth to be there for recitals? What's it worth to be there for picnics and weddings and walks on the beach? Is it worth one phone call? Get checked for breast and cervical cancer. For more information on free screenings, call 1-844-249-0708.
Now it's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. If you want to stay healthy, a new study finds the more whole grains you eat, the better. Jonathan Vigliotti shows us the benefits.
These shoppers in London are loading up on their whole grains.
I prefer the taste, I prefer the texture, and I think it's probably better for me.
I love myself. I'd like to be healthy.
Whole grains, found in everything from bread and cereal to brown rice, has long been considered superior to processed grains. But little was known about how much you need to eat to cut your risk of disease. Dr. Dagfin Ayune at Imperial College London led a team of researchers who analyzed 45 studies on whole grains.
What we see is that the more you eat, the lower the risk.
The study found that eating just 2 servings a day, or about 2 slices of whole grain bread, can help improve your health. They found eating 3 servings of whole grains a day can significantly reduce the risk of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, coronary heart disease, and the risk of dying from any chronic disease. Researchers say the bigger the serving, the bigger the benefit. Even Dr. Ayune has changed his habits.
I try to eat as much as possible.
Doctors found people who ate up to 7.5 servings of whole grains a day cut their risk of disease even more. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, London.
This study is the largest of its kind and comes just days after a Harvard University study found that eating 3 daily servings of whole grains cuts your risk of dying by about 20%. The Food and Drug Administration has approved a new device to treat obesity. It's a manual pump to drain food from your stomach. The pump is surgically inserted and has a port outside the abdomen used to drain the stomach after a meal. It tracks usage and automatically stops working after a certain number of usages cycle. How you disagree with your spouse might predict your future health. Scientists analyzed 156 couples for 20 years. They found patterns of angry outbursts, raised risk of heart problems, emotional withdrawal, or stonewalling could eventually lead to back pain or stiff neck. Now here's what's coming up at 5:30.